If you asked me a couple of weeks ago if I was getting excited for a potential huge June Nintendo Direct from Nintendo, I'd say no, not at all. I have no hope. But after the last couple of days, my mind's kind of changed a little bit. If anything, I'm actually starting to get excited again. I know, hold on, hear me out. With Nintendo's recent sales reports, they pretty much said Nintendo Switch 2 is doing really well, but at the same time, some of the software and hardware sales are starting to drop off pretty significantly. Not to mention, Nintendo's stock is reaching the all-time lowest it's been in 5 years. But to be specific, it's this comment that has me really excited. Nintendo President Shuntaro Furukawa stated, "Ideally, we would like to deliver new titles more frequently and in a more timely manner, but as you pointed out, the software development period has become longer than before. Even so, we will continue to work on various initiatives to ensure that many titles can be played on Nintendo Switch 2 by improving our development system and development process. Looking ahead, we are preparing a variety of new titles for the Nintendo Switch 2, regardless of whether they are considered major titles or not. Furthermore, for the second half of this fiscal year, we have new titles in addition to those already announced, and we will provide details at the appropriate time." Oh my gosh, Nintendo's actually making games for the rest of this year? Oh! Like, no duh. This is such a PR statement to make, to just let people know and investors that games are coming. But the fact that Nintendo had to say this is a sign, because Nintendo doesn't do this. Nintendo doesn't come out and say, hey, we got more games that we're about to announce for the rest of this year, unless there's a reason. And there's a clear reason. So on one hand, yes, I think this is just a basic company statement that they put out, but at the same time, I also think it might be telling of Nintendo gearing up for some big stuff here. Because I was recently looking online at all the things that have been recently rumored and stuff, pretty much for the entirety of this year, and there is so much that we could be getting. It's actually pretty exciting. Now, before I jump into talking about all these rumored games, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We have reached 391,000 subscribers, just 9K away from reaching our goal of 400,000. Stop what you're doing right now. Leave a like and subscribe if you're excited for Nintendo Summer and the rest of this year. And also, let's just see how many people we can get to leave a like and subscribe on this video today. But thank you so much for tuning in, and let's dive into the video. So I put together every leak and rumor that we have right now. This list is not going to include anything that's already been announced, like Star Fox, and also any other game that's already been announced by Nintendo. This is going to be focusing on mainly things that we don't know about right now. And in no specific order, we have Metroid 6. There's a rumor out there that Metroid 6 is almost done, which would be the next 2D Metroid in the franchise, whether it's called that or if it's something else entirely, because it seemed like they were kind of ending off the story with Dread. Who knows? But a new 2D Metroid, which sounds very exciting. Obviously, Metroid Dread was a huge commercial success and was a real driving point to keep Mercury Steam working on these things, even though recently, I don't know if you heard, Mercury Steam had a lot of layoffs, which is admittedly kind of scary, but hopefully they are hard at work or even finished with the next 2D Metroid game, because after Metroid Prime 4's failed development and also failed success, meaning they didn't really have success, I really am looking forward to the next 2D Metroid game, because Dread was really well done. And also, I really hope they start a new storyline. It doesn't have to be Metroid 6. I would really love it if they just developed a completely new story to build from the start. Meaning, I'm completely okay if they leave the X-Parasites in the past. Next up, there's been some small rumors out there from some unreliable sources so far, just some word of mouth, that a Wario Land 6 is going to happen. Wario Land is a strange one, because we've already gotten 2 WarioWare games on the Switch, but we still haven't gotten an adventure game with Wario, since Wario Land Shake It on the Wii, and Wario World was the only 3D game that we got on the GameCube. The Wario Land games are not traditional 2D platformers. They're more explorative and strange and a lot different than what you might expect, and we really haven't seen anything with Wario in a mainline game in a long time. So as I still think this is very unlikely, it's also very exciting to think of the possibility of potentially getting another Wario Land game, but count me in for another Wario World. That's what I want to see. There's been a couple of rumors floating around that we're getting new Mario Kart content in the form of DLC potentially for Mario Kart World. Now this one's pretty interesting because in the recent financial report, Furukawa stated, "While I refrain from talking about the state of sales for individual titles, Mario Kart World is an important title that we would like to continue selling throughout the life cycle of the Nintendo Switch 2. Going forward, we will continue to convey its appeal to consumers to expand its popularity as an evergreen title." So, I mean, genuinely, it sounds like he's saying, yeah, there's gonna be content coming to this game. So we don't really need rumors to tell us this, because if Nintendo wants wants Mario Kart World to be an evergreen title that continues to grow for the entire life cycle of Switch 2, which was already starting off as a launch game and we're only now approaching year 1, they need to have lots of content planned for this game, and it's probably why we haven't had anything the whole first year, because they're going to be slowly putting it out for the next couple of years, which would be great. Right now, a lot of people, myself included, are indifferent about this game. There's a lot of good stuff, but there's also a lot of bad. But at the same time, I can see this game having tons of potential. I can see Nintendo transforming this game into one of the greatest kart racers with just a little time and effort. So yes, I would love DLC, even if I have to pay for it on top of the $80 game already purchased. Yes, I paid $80. I wanted the physical version. I'm sorry. But like I said, we're almost a year into this game. It's time we start seeing some updates at the very least, not an occasional free little addition to the game once every 4 months that we're getting right now. Like, please drop some massive content updates. Yes, Metroid's on this list again because apparently there is going to be another Metroid game, and apparently it's going to be a remake of Super Metroid. This is a game that fans hold near and dear to their heart as one of their not only favorite Metroid games, but a lot of people's favorite Nintendo game of all time. So they don't want to change the core game too much. But I think if they did something similar to how Metroid 2 got remade by Mercury Steam, I think this could be really good. Which I also think would be a really big thing because Super Metroid was the closest we're gonna get to a Metroidvania from the Metroid franchise, which I know sounds crazy. And plus, for a lot of new gamers, Super Metroid might be a little too difficult and they might want something a little bit more modernized, so I think this could be a really good idea, honestly. I thought Pikmin 4 was a really great title, so it completely excites me knowing that we're probably going to be getting a Switch 2 edition. Why am I so confident on this one? Because this is one of the few rumors that comes from Nate the Hate, which has been pretty daggone spot on. I mean, he's already this year said that Splatoon Raiders was coming out in the summer, and he called Star Fox, so why would we not believe him on everything else that's coming this year? Yeah, I completely believe him, and something like a Pikmin 4 Switch 2 edition as we wait for the next mainline game just makes a lot of sense. Now, in what form is this going to take? Hopefully it's just more story content, and it's not a bunch of stuff that people don't care about. I think that's the problem with things like Mario Wonder, where it added a bunch of things in Bella Bell Park for multiplayer, but most people just wanted more story content, which they did give us in the form of Koopaling battles, but that was about it. So I'm hoping for maybe a world or two with new creatures and a new boss battle with a side story to go through, which would be really, really awesome. However, I just know how Nintendo operates, and they're going to do something multiplayer focused. Watch it be something to do with Dandori battles all over again, which are fine, but I don't know. I am not a fan of multiplayer Pikmin. I much rather just play through a Pikmin story by myself. That's just me. So I'm hoping they do something more with an actual story gameplay, adding new creatures and a boss, maybe in a new world, which would excite me so much just to have more Pikmin content. Shoot, they could even add things like a dungeon crawler. I could definitely see Nintendo doing something kind of like a roguelike like they did with Splatoon already, where you go through different pre-generated dungeons, or random generated dungeons rather, or maybe just giving us like a boss rush mode where we can fight all the game's bosses in a row, which I think one of the dens already technically does that. I can't remember, but either way, it'd be cool. Something else that comes straight from Nate the Hate is apparently we're getting something to do with Switch Sports. Now, he does state that he doesn't know if this is going to be a new game or just a Switch 2 edition. This could be a Switch Sports 2 or Switch Sports Resort. Who knows? But I'll be completely honest with you. I really don't want this to be a Switch 2 edition. I so badly want this to be a brand new title that's full with new and unique content. If I had it my way, it'd be a Switch Sports Resort, something like Wii Sports Resort that gives us a new island to explore, tons of side games and main games to play, and things to do solo and with friends. Just a big hub of fun for our Miis. This apparently is coming sometime this summer with Pikmin 4's Switch 2 edition, so knowing Nintendo, this is literally going to be nothing more than just a Switch 2 edition, which pains me because I'm like, dude, it already took them 2 to 3 years to add things like basketball and golf, so them just adding a couple more sports and slapping it on Switch 2 would kind of make me upset. I want them to rework this and actually put in tons of effort from the start with a new game. This new game should have the charm and charisma that Wii Sports Resort had, in my opinion, so I'm really hoping they try to replicate that the best they can on Switch 2 with Switch Sports. Yeah, we actually have some rumors of something I didn't think we'd be talking about yet, and that's Super Smash Bros. There's one major rumor that came came out recently from someone that's kind of a games journalist insider known as Kiwi Talks on Twitter. He pretty much came out and kept it very vague and said there's something Smash Brothers coming, but he can't say what. He wants to protect his source, which is completely understandable, but apparently he said it could be just an NSO drop of Melee or even Brawl, which didn't make sense to me because we don't have Wii NSO right now. I doubt we will anytime soon because we hardly have any GameCube games on NSO. But he also said it could be a remake of an old game, or it could be a brand new game, or it could be a Switch 2 edition of Smash Ultimate. So yeah, it could be anything at this point. Once again, and especially with this one, I am praying with all my heart and might that this isn't a Switch 2 edition of Smash Ultimate. I really just want to see a new game. I want to see a soft reboot of the franchise, changing old characters' movesets, chopping down the roster more, and adding brand new modes, and focusing more on single-player content as well, like Subspace returning in some capacity. I just want the new Smash Brothers game to feel like a new Smash Brothers game. The Ultimate thing has been done to death. I'm ready for first-party character focus and stuff like that. So yeah, I am praying the next Smash Brothers game isn't just a Switch 2 edition of Smash Ultimate, or I might break down and cry. Now, this is one that excites me the most, and once again, I don't think we need a rumor to predict this one, but Special Nick on Twitter also signified that we'd be getting some Luigi's Mansion stuff soon. He claims that Nintendo is pitching a movie right now, I think for Illumination to work on a Luigi's Mansion film, and also he claims that Luigi's Mansion 4 will be coming soon, which is very exciting. As a huge fan of Luigi's Mansion, I am very much looking forward to the next game. In my head, I feel like Luigi's Mansion for this holiday would just make so much sense. I'm still really thinking that a Luigi's Mansion 4 could happen for the big holiday game, and I just think they could do so much with it. It's such a new, fresh franchise still with only 3 games, and the recent one selling so extremely well for Switch 1. I think it'd be a no-brainer to have one of the big segments of the upcoming Nintendo Direct to be focused on Luigi's Mansion and to have that big reveal. I think that's a major thing that a lot of people would be looking forward to. Finishing up with a couple more, we have the one that's been rumored to the moon and back from various different sources and even got doubled down on by Nin10doland, which was a Legend of Zelda remake for this holiday. This is just all but confirmed at this point. I mean, we can chalk this down almost like an upcoming game. I am so confident in this release, I'm even going back and recording specific gameplay for Ocarina of Time's original version just so I can talk about the remake when it drops, because I am so confident of this happening, especially after he just got the Star Fox thing correct. I am so excited for this, and a lot of people are like, is Nintendo actually going to do something like this? Well, I feel like they are absolutely going to, because what else would you do for Zelda's big 40th anniversary? It's clearly not time for the next big Zelda game. I mean, we might get a small glimpse of it, but it's going to be still at least 3 years away, so what else could they do? What game is big enough to celebrate something as big as a 40th anniversary? So yes, I am all here for it. I completely believe that this is happening, and I actually do want to see some massive changes to the game. I want the game's core mechanics and core dungeon design and bosses and stuff to primarily stay the same. Don't mess up too much, but they can add new phases to the bosses, new sections of the dungeons, and maybe an updated combat system, and maybe more locations in Hyrule Field, for instance, because it's kind of wide and empty for the most part. So there definitely are ways to clean this game up, make it fresh, without changing what makes Ocarina of Time so great, and they could literally make one of the greatest remakes of all time if they lock in here. And this can of course be part of a greater anniversary celebration during the Nintendo Direct itself, like they did with Mario. They started the show with like 15 minutes of Mario 40th stuff. They could do the same thing for Zelda. Now, it clearly doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out what my last game I'm going to talk about here is, because technically it is for sure in the rumor mill, and that is the next 3D Mario. Please, Nintendo. Now, if you're not yet familiar with the rumor behind this game, Nin10doland came out and said that there was originally planned to be a 3D Mario for this year's holiday title, but it was moved for one reason or another. Some people speculate it could be because of GTA, some people think that maybe Nintendo just wasn't ready for it yet, they needed to push it back, for development purposes, but either way, Nin10doland pretty much called this before we even knew anything about the game and said this game will be coming out sometime in 2027. Now, for us to talk about a game that's not even been announced as delayed, it's strange, yes, but if the game was delayed internally and we don't know about it, that would mean we'd probably be seeing the game sometime early to middle of next year instead of the holiday season, which I'm game for, especially if Pokemon Wind and Waves is going to be the holiday game, which it it should be. But if the game really is coming at the beginning of next year, and especially with the current state of fans wanting to see something big from Nintendo, I think this is the time you show this game off in some capacity. Just give us a trailer, give us a look at what this game is going to be to allow people to start to feel their speculation and be excited for something again. It's that simple. I'm really hoping it follows after Bowser Fury's blueprints and gives us a sort of open world 3D Mario experience with tons of platforming challenges all over this vast world, giant Mushroom Kingdom, Toad Town, and Peach Castle to explore throughout. I think this could be one of the craziest things Nintendo's ever made if it's done right. But I trust the 3D Mario team. I'm just wanting to see this thing from the 3D Mario team. So, hey 3D Mario team, how about this June? But this is pretty much every single major and minor rumor that we have so far for Nintendo Switch 2 in 2026 and even part of 2027. Now, there's also a weird rumor from an anonymous source that apparently gotten some things right already that claims there's going to be another Star Fox game coming out that's not a remake, which would be so cool if that's the case. If Nintendo really threw their guns at this thing and said, you know what, let's make Star Fox huge. You know, let's throw him in the Mario movie. Let's give him a special movie, which apparently a Star Fox movie is being pitched or something. So to have him in the Mario movie, his own movie, a remake of 64, and another adventure style title coming, goodness gracious, I don't see how Star Fox couldn't be on the map. If it doesn't get success from that, I don't know what will. So now you see why people are so excited, because those are just rumors. There's still so many other games coming out that we need to learn more about. Like, we have Yoshi the Mysterious Book this month, we have Star Fox next month, we have Splatoon Raiders and Rhythm Heaven Groove in July, and Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave will probably release in August because Nate the Hate said that it was also going to be a summer game with Splatoon Raiders. So we're going to have to wait and see, but so far, I'm liking what I see, and if Nintendo just pulls through and actually has a showcase of some capacity in a general direct in June, dude, they are going to be back on top the way we always known them to be. And I do have some faith that something's going to shake here in the next couple of months or so. We're just going to have to continue to be a little bit more patient, but what do you guys think? Is Nintendo gearing up for a big June Direct, or are we just going to get more Twitter drops and small information on upcoming games? Let me know what you think down below. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe before you head out, and I hope you all have a blessed day. See you guys.